Jason and Cassidy, a nice young married couple. Like Roger said, he's a working chef. These guys have no major issues in their life except CPS, the kidnappers. The kidnappers, these are people trafficking in human babies and selling them for profit of the state of California or any state in the United States. We'll go to that tape. Watch Lori Lee run like a coward for a simple question.
Excuse me, is your name Lori Lee? Do you work for the state or the county? Is your name Lori Lee? Who is that woman?
That was Lori Lee. She was my social worker. She's the one that threw us under the bus in this whole situation. Got my son taken away from me.
She's the one that kidnapped your son in the beginning?
Yes.
She do you any good at all?
No. None whatsoever.
So it's just a child slavery kidnapping?
Yes.
And she's the head honcho for these people?
Yes, she is.
Oh.
Just her. Just
but
the one
she
that ran,
was, and she would not identify herself in the courtroom?
No, she would not.
Do you think you've got justice in this so-called juvenile hearing with Judge Hernan?
Oh, no.
Tell him what he said to you.
Oh, he said anything that had to do with our constitutional rights or amendments, it's water under the bridge, and he just wants to talk about why we're not contracting or complying with the services that they want me to do, or my husband, such as drug classes, drug testing, urinating in front of other people.
Basically, they want you to jump through all these federally funded programs that give jobs to these social workers.
Yes.
Do you ever had a drug issue? Have you ever been arrested or charged with drug
No.
possession? Are they going to try to give you a jury trial?
No, he does not want to.
What they've done here and the outrageousness of it, telling you that you could not, that by special appearance, of not allowing you to make any kind of comments to lay out what is going on. Now they said, what did he say? That'll all be handled at the hearing?
No, it's done. We're not allowed to talk about any of that stuff.
He did not want any. He said it's water under the bridge, and he did not want to hear not one mention.
No evidence that we had. Only what's in the addendum report.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Are you going to sue Lori Lee for kidnapping your child and sue Judge Hernan for conspiracy
And
in
their
violation of the rights of a
Yes.
citizen?
Yes, and their spouses.
And suing our attorneys for misrepresentation and all of the above.
Actually, the addendum report that the judge wants to discuss in this next hearing was written by Brianna Goodrich, our current caseworker. She's about my age.
Out of thin air.
Out of thin air. If we continue to go to these classes, that's admitting to guilt, and I'm not guilty. So.
All they want is our money and our child for more money.
Yes.
Our beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white.
And then they want you to pay they want them to pay $300 a month apiece, child support. They've sued them now for child support.
So they want you to pay child support for the child they've kidnapped from you.
$1,000 total a month.
A month.
Does that seem insane? They steal your child and then they want you to pay child support for the child they stole?
It's horrible.
And on top of this, he lost his job. He was the top chef, sous chef. He worked for the brothers at Maddie's Tavern, who are connected to Wolfgang Puck at Spago, Beverly Hills. He's globally, and he worked for the brothers for 10 years. He was a sous chef, and he lost his job because of all of this, having to
comply with their crackpot a contract, having me run around to go to AA classes because they
Excluded from that kangaroo, can I say Star Chamber?
Yes.
Prosecutor says I can say Star Chamber proceeding, where they brought this young couple, and they had scads of these human traffickers all around them that would not identify themselves. And he said on the record, they don't have to identify themselves.
The judge.
The judge, Judge Herman, who needs to be removed from office. And if you're watching this show now or you're watching it later, put that in the back of your mind. We need to get Judge Herman off. And one reason, I'm suspicious. We asked for his oath of office, certified copy. They came up with 2 certified copies. One, Roger, signed by his wife, Denise, who's also a judge. Yes. And that struck me as very irregular.
Yes.
And I think it's too much power in one family.
What has been the complete breakdown of in the judicial system, the code of judicial conduct, the judges are not to engage in conduct that even has the appearance of impropriety. When I complained to the Oregon Judicial Fitness Commission, they said, well, maybe one we can do, but all of them, no, we can't do this. They have no enforcement at all. So they have just taken the harness off of these judges, and so they're all put in there as political appointees to carry out this objective of taking the children, doing this because it's all money driven. If there was no funding coming into any of this, the attorneys and all of them that are involved in this, if there was no federal money, there would be none of this going on. And it's that, people. That is the evil. It's the money that's driving this kind of child snatching.
You're right, Roger. Let me read you a little bit of what happened in the courtroom that you and I were not allowed to see or participate in. They get this young couple in there, surround them with these leeches, these human traffickers, these kidnappers, and the judge says, we don't want to hear what you got to say. We're past that. That's water over the dam. I'm going to quote the court. That, in his opinion, the lawyer, a profession, I mean, you know, frankly, knowing what I know about this case, I'm very concerned about the barriers that both of you have put up to the reunification process. Wait one freaking minute. They kidnapped a baby. They have a duty to return that baby, and Judge Herman's refusing, and he's saying, you're obstructing your own reunification process. 90% of these kids are taken. They don't want them reunified. They never give them back because they're worth how much money, Roger?
$85,000 in Oregon. But remember, the taking, William, this is what I read you, this Constitution, the 14th Amendment. Right. That prohibits that kind of activity. And as long as the people go into the courtroom and ask the judge for something, this is going to happen to them. I said, people, when you go into that courtroom, you have said it all in the pleadings. And when you walk, that they have no authority to do this. And the other side must deny it or it's deemed admitted. And then when you go into that courtroom, people, you have to understand this. You tell that judge, I'm here by special appearance, judge, until informed by you that I'm proceeding in a court of constitutional due process, an adversary system, plaintiff, defendant, neutral judge. Now, when you say that and you have this crowd, that you're not giving him jurisdiction. If you don't say that, people, if you just go in with an attorney or by yourself and you don't say that, you are turning your legal self, your legal corporate self, over to that judge. And that's how you've made a general appearance. And that's how they are able to do this to you in the system. So you have to understand this, people. If you don't, you are dooming your children to live as numbered human commercial commodity. That's what's going on in our system.
A numbered commercial commodity. Stephanie, do you want your children to be a numbered commercial commodity when you have children?
I do want children, and I'm kind of scared to have them. I mean, they could take them away for any reason.
Well, what they've done to this gal here, Cassidy, she has done absolutely nothing. She had excruciating pain. She took some medication to try to alleviate, and they used that as a pretense. Nothing else. They used that as a pretense. That is so outrageous. Horsewhipping. I said, if my mother was around,
horsewhip them to death.
Horsewhip them doing this. But I went to to the grandmother's church and tried to talk to the pastors about this. Oh, no, they don't, we don't want to get involved in it. And this is the problem. This is the problem, that the people...
The Christian pastors are wimps.
Well, they've all
Christ would spit at them and say, I don't know you.
Do not call yourself one of mine if you allow innocence to be destroyed.